All right, so both Hins and Otsudarva have entire website pages dedicated to killers and the killer's best build, right? So I wanted to react to what they think the best builds are for Huntress because that's obviously where I specialize. So I wanted to react to them, give my thoughts, try and understand where they're coming from, and critique them in a certain way. I gotta say, Hins' website looks super sick. I really love this. You can scroll over the pictures, click the picture, and it'll take you to their build. So let's check out what Hins likes for Huntress. This Huntress art looks super sick, by the way. All right, so he's got 3 builds. No, 4 builds. Okay, so first up is Best Without Limitations. So he's got Flower Babushka and Glowing Concoction for add-ons. I think those are both outstanding S-tier add-ons. Flower Babushka is definitely heavily slept on. It's not the best combination in my opinion. Like, don't get me wrong, Glowing Concoction is really great, but I think a Haft would be better. Shiny Pin is the best in my opinion. Shiny Pin Flower is the absolute best add-on combination for her because it makes indoor maps and really shitty small loops a lot more playable for her and will allow her to get a lot of hits that she really has no business getting normally, honestly. And so for his perks, he has Corrupt Intervention, Deadman Switch, Pain Res, and Agitation. Now, I have a few problems with this. Corrupt Intervention, she can have a slower early game, so I understand if this is catered towards new Huntresses. Not a bad choice at all, right? Obviously, new Huntresses are going to be leaning away from Aura. And Corrupt Intervention can be solid because, you know, you're a new killer, you're a new Huntress, whatever. You might struggle to find somebody in the beginning. I think, personally, you should stick to Aura reading from the get-go and just deal with the losses as they come while you work on landing your timings, landing your cross map shots, landing your snipes, landing things like that. Yes, you will lose a lot in the beginning, but it's going to actually turn your skill up much, 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 much faster than if you're using quad slowdown and hitting close-up shots, you know, and you'll win a lot more games that way, but your skill is not going to be nearly as good as fast, right? So Agitation, I totally understand the thought process behind it. Agitation is so you can hook closer to what's happening. Hook closer to Jins, easier to defend, put it on a better hook so that way you can contest the hook at range, things like that. Agitation, a lot of people swear by it on Huntress. I believe personally, honestly, is completely overrated. There's nothing wrong in most cases, not every case. There's nothing wrong with hooking a survivor way out of the way. If you down a survivor in the corner of the map and you hook them there, that means the survivor is going to have to run all the way to the corner of the map. Like, yes, you can't contest it, but that's going to be a lot more time with them running there and then healing and then them peeling back to the mid-map. And by the time they get that unhook, you can down other survivors and hook them at the same time and get it to a point to where everybody's off Jins healing and unhooking, right? So Agitation is highly overrated on her in my opinion, but it does combine well with Pain Res. So, you know, if you're going to be using Pain Res, Agitation is not a bad choice, honestly. Deadman Switch is also really solid now for a slowdown for her because you could cross map a hatchet at a Jin. Even if you miss, they'll probably let off for a second, you know, and it'll trigger Deadman Switch. If you hit them, it forces them to let off. So it forces the trigger of Deadman Switch. So not bad. Not something I would really recommend. I would recommend it, I guess, if you don't really care about snipes. You don't really care about getting a lot better. You just want to win with her, right? So Hins' favorite, seen this coming a mile away, full Aura reading. He's got Darkness Revealed, Barbecue and Chili, Bitter Murmur, and Lethal Pursuer. I'm already seeing some things I don't like. And then again, Flower and Glowing. Obviously, if you're using a full Aura reading build, yeah, Glowing Concoction is a solid choice. I'm not going to argue with that at all. Bitter Murmur, way overrated. Actually, I think it's a detriment to the build because why do you want to see survivors after they pop a generator? You want to see survivors before they pop a generator. So you would want Darkness Revealed is solid. I don't like it. I would rather have Nowhere to Hide, and I'll explain my thought process in a minute. Gearhead is going to be much better than Bitter Murmur in every way. You have survivors using perk like, just let me explain Gearhead real quick. Anytime a survivor hits a good skill check, it doesn't have to be great, good, you get an 8-second Aura read on them. 10 with Lethal Pursuer. So that's a 30-second timer takes place after you enter a survivor. If they're using Hyper Focus and they get like 10 skill checks in a row, you'll have 80 seconds of aura reading, right? So it's kind of crazy. Obviously, the gen will be popped by then, but you know what I mean. It's literally insane how much aura reading you get, and it can prevent you. It can stop you. It can stop them from popping a gen. You can see, oh, dude, this dude's aura is constantly lit. Either he has a toolbox or he has hyper focus, and you can land a cross map and down them. I've saved generators from popping that were at like 90, 95 because Gearhead kept going off, and I land an orbital on the generator because of Gearhead. Meanwhile, Bitter Murmur, the gen pops, you've lost it, and then you see the aura read, and it's not very long too. It's like what, 5 seconds, I believe, 7 with lethal. So, and it only applies to the survivors by that gen. So Gearhead is just a far superior pick in every single way, right? Darkness Revealed. Darkness Revealed is another one that a lot of Huntress mains use. Totally, totally overrated. It's good on indoor maps. It's way good on indoor maps. It's worse on outdoor maps. Like on Yamoka Estate, for example, you have over a quarter of the map with no lockers at all. On Sheltered Woods, you have about 70% of the map with no lockers at all. So it's very overrated. I think Nowhere to Hide is much, much better because you can follow a barbecue and chili proc, get to a generator, and then you have survivors who are skittish who hear your terror radius and run immediately. And then you kick the gen and you see, oh, they're hiding behind a rock that's 2 meters away. And now they're in a dead zone. They have no way out, and you instantly down them. Right? I have such a high kill rate for a reason. I've been tracking my stats for the last 6 months. I have a 90% win rate, right? And I can't tell you how much lower that would be without Nowhere to Hide. Nowhere to Hide will find you survivors who are setting up for a flashy save because you can kick it and then go to your slug. And I can't tell you how many survivors I caught out waiting for a flashy save because I have Nowhere to Hide. It's just a far superior option, in my opinion, in pretty much every way. Although Nowhere to Hide is going to be much better for snipes if that's something you're really looking to do. Or I mean, Darkness Revealed is going to be much better for snipes. Nowhere to Hide is going to be much better for finding rats off of barbecue and chili proc or things like that, denying flashy saves, right? And then his best beginner build. Okay, so I guess this is it. It's not all catered towards one beginner. Shiny Pin and OCAF. Totally agree with that. That's fine. Shiny Pin should just be base kit. There's no reason for her to move at 77 when you have instant down killers moving at 92, Pyramid Head at 110, Demo at 110 while he's holding Shred. So, you know, being able to move at 82.5 with Shiny Pin is really nice. It's really solid for beginners. OCAF as well. Her cooldown is fast from the survivor side, but it feels like it takes forever from her side because you throw a hatchet and you have to wait 2 entire seconds before you can attack or do anything. So you can hit a survivor with a hatchet, they run right through you, and then they vault the window, and then they run away, and then you can ready up the hatchet. I can't tell you how many times for the first amount of time I threw a hatchet and I'm just spamming the M1 trying to grab him at the window, and then I just smack the window with my axe because 2 seconds does feel like forever, even though on the survivor side, it feels like it's nothing. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, I can't really argue with this at all. I put on Shiny Pin once because everybody talks so highly about it. And I'm like, 5% can't be that much. It is that much. And I've never taken it off ever since. It is the best add-on in my opinion because it makes her so much better at indoor maps and loops where she would normally be bad. So Flower, Shiny Pin, best combination in my opinion. But anyways, the beginner build, Agi, Brutal Strength, Bamboozle, in Ruin. Now, a lot of people might frown when they see Bamboozle, especially Huntress mains, but I understand the philosophy, right? Because they think, well, you can catch the survivor at the window with a hatchet. Why would you block the window, right? But this is really, really good because she struggles sometimes at Shack, and she struggles a lot at double L walls with 2 windows, right? If you can deny one of the windows at the double L walls, you'll guaranteed get a hit. If you vault Shack immediately, they have to give up the God Palette immediately or get hit. That's their only option. So it's a solid choice for a beginner. You know, windows are kind of one of the hardest things she has to play around because she's so slow, right? So, and then Agitation, again, not sure why you're doing Agitation. I guess, no. I take that back because he's using free to play stuff for the beginner build. So I can understand Agitation. In my opinion, for a totally beginner build, for a free-to-play build, just using the killers that you start with or ones that you can unlock for free, Enduring is going to be way better than Agitation. I think he's rating Agitation way too highly. Enduring is going to be much better because you almost never want to respect palettes as Huntress. Like I said, I have a 90% win rate, 80% kill rate, very high because I almost never, ever, ever respect pallets. You can't afford to on such a slow killer. If you respect the pallet and they fake it, you're a 110 killer, they can get another 3 loops out of it. So say you loop around it twice and you get stunned because you go through it, you don't respect it. You spent like 15 seconds at the loop, you got stunned, you move on to the next loop. You fake it and ready up, they get 3, 4, 5 more loops around. So now you spent like 45 to 50 seconds at the loop. So I never respect pallets. Sometimes I do. It's very, very rare. Ruin is all right, I guess. I'm not a big fan of it. But you know, it's not horrible. It's just too RNG dependent. Brutal strength, not a big fan of brutal strength either. Again, though, it is beginner stuff, so I'll cut him slack on that. He's trying to do a total beginner build. I'll have to make a video about that. I don't know what I would do exactly for a full free-to-play beginner build. I would definitely say enduring's definitely one of them for sure. And let's move on to the next one. Unique build, jump scare, melee, huntress, soldier's putty, wooden fox, disco, spies from the shadows, darkness, excuse me, and coup. Jump scare melee huntress. I'm not gonna even comment on this one. It's just a meme build, I guess. Even then, it could be done better. Why would you do spies from the shadows? That's confusing to me. But yeah, and then we'll go to Otsdarva. Let's see what Otsdarva has to say. I do love that artwork though. That is great. Good shit. Okay, so here it is, Huntress. Oh, it's kind of off to the side. Let me pull this out here. So generic build. I don't know. I wonder what he means by generic build. Corrupt Intervention, Barbecue and Chili, Grim Embrace, Leverage. And then potentially No Way Out. So a swap out for No Way Out and Thrilling Tremors. That's Thrilling Tremors, right? Yeah, it is. Okay, so... Yeah, I mean... I wouldn't even say this is anywhere near her best at all whatsoever. Grim Embrace is awful. I would switch that out for... I don't know. Just keeping it generic, Deadlock would be much better than Grim Embrace. Really, for Huntress, I would say Grim Embrace is detrimental. You don't want to hook all 4 survivors. You just don't want to do it. I personally do 3. Some people do 2, you know, first hook, second hook, first hook, second hook, dead, right? I do 3 people because I'm confident enough in my skills. I can almost always hook 3 survivors and kill everybody anyways, right? But I always leave 1 go. In the 50 seconds of gen blockage after hooking the 4th person, it's not worth it. Survivors will just use the time to, you know, grab items, heal up, reset, things like that. They'll just hide it out. It's worthless in my opinion. Leverage isn't too bad, not gonna lie. You want to keep people injured as Huntress, but also you don't, because if they're injured, you're gonna be able to down them, right? But also if they're injured, they're gonna be working on gens. So chances are pretty good if they're not healing because they see leverage, they'll work on gens for 30 seconds and then heal. So it's a kind of a double-edged sword. I'm not gonna hate on it too much. No Way Out's a much better choice in my opinion. And then barbecue and chili and subbing it out for Thrilling Tremors is just I'm not really sure what's going on here. Thrilling Tremors is very, very, very bad. I think people overrate it a little bit too much. Whenever you pick up a survivor, the gens that aren't being worked on are blocked for 16 seconds. Then it goes on a 30-second cooldown. No, I would not use this. Barbecue and chili all day, every day over that. Like I said with the hinge thing, corrupt. It's all right. I'm not gonna hate on it too much. He's got a full hex build. I actually love hex builds on Huntress, right? Although this isn't a hex. I mean, it's still a hex build, I guess, right? So he's got Ruin, Blood Favor, Undying, Disco / Agi. Again, we're rating Agi way too highly, in my opinion. I do understand the thought process. I'm not just hating. I understand the thought process. You get them to a much better hook where you can contest it, right? If you're able to, like, say you're on McMillan Estate and there's a hook on top of a hill that you can only make with Agi, you want to, if you can, you want to put that survivor there. Agi's going to guarantee it. I just think there's much better options, in my opinion. Disco, it's not bad. I can't hate too much on it. What I would do for a full hex build is I would do Pinty, Undying, Blood Favor, Devour is how I would run it. Right? So Ruin, again, not terrible, not great. It's a very bad hex perk, but there's definitely better options, but it's not awful by any means. I understand the thought process. The shining piece right here is Blood Favor. Blood Favor is absolutely brutal on Huntress. You can hit survivors before they can drop the pallet. It's just a nightmare. She can deal out health states so quickly. So I totally agree with this. That is a great perk to use on her, right? Or a reading build. Let's see. He's got not a big fan. But Lethal Pursuer, great. Zancian Tactics / Thrilling Trimmers. No, I would not use either of those. Zancian Tactics can be all right. They drop a pallet, you get an 8-second aura read. If this was old Zancian that was on the PTB after I got buffed, yes, absolutely. It was a god tier perk. It's still all right, though. It can allow you to get some very cheeky hits at a pallet because you can see their aura and you just double back and throw over the pallet. You can do that anyways. If you don't break the pallet, survivors know you're 110, they know you're slow. Chances are pretty good that they're going to stick to that loop. You can double back and hit them without the aura read. So I wouldn't even bother with it. Thrilling Trimmers is way, way overrated. I have no clue why people like it as much as they do on her. It is, I would genuinely say it's awful on her. Pyramid Head, yes. Pyramid Head absolutely feasts with I'm all ears. I think I said Thrilling Tremors earlier. Yeah, no, I would not be using that. Barbecue and Chili, totally, 100%. I'm on board with that. And then Deadlock / Grim Embrace again. I would not be using Grim Embrace at all. Deadlock. It's not a full aura build. For me, a hex build is all hexes. An aura build is all aura. A slowdown build is all slowdown, right? Deadlock, though, I understand the thought process because a lot of people just don't think that you can win without slowdown. A lot of people are in that mindset. And you really can't unless you put a lot of time into them. And I'll cut Ott some slack because he really doesn't play Huntress that much. I seen him on the leaderboard. He only has 25,000 hatchets thrown, or 23,000. And, I'm already at 75,000. So he really doesn't play her too much anymore. So he kind of is not all the way on board with, I guess, meta stuff. So I'll cut him some slack, Build with basic perks. Okay, I love this. I'm loving this. Okay, yes, I am loving this for sure. This is the best out of all the builds we looked at so far. This is the best build. I'm actually going to steal this from Otstarva and recommend this to you guys. Build with basic perks. This is phenomenal. Bitter Murmur / man, what the heck is that? Predator, right? Bitter Murmur, I would definitely say yes. And then Thrill of the Hunt / Agi. And then Huntress's Lullaby / Whispers. Spies / Nurses Calling. Absolutely phenomenal. This is it. I'm going to make a video about this. This right here. This is your free-to-play build. So Bitter Murmur's a general perk. Predator comes from Wraith. Thrill of the Hunt's a general perk. Agitation comes from Trapper. Huntress's Lullaby comes from Huntress. Whispers is a general perk. Spies from the Shadows is a general perk. And Nurse's Calling is from the Nurse. All 4 characters completely free. They come with a base game, if I recall right. Even if they don't, I'm pretty sure they do. Maybe Nurse you have to buy with iridescent shards. I forget. Anyways, you don't have to pay real money is what I'm saying. But yes, absolutely. Thrill of the Hunt actually got a buff, so it can make Huntress's Lullaby last longer. If you're brand new, Huntress's Lullaby is going to be devastating. I'll never forget one of my first matches in Dead by Daylight was against a Huntress, and she had Huntress's Lullaby, and I missed, no lie, no exaggeration, probably about 20 skill checks in one match. About 20. And it was very frustrating. And I was like, dude, what the fuck is this? This perk is so insane. But then once I realized that skill checks were easy to hit, actually, it's not that good. But for at the beginner level, even it can still get veterans some trouble nowadays, but it's just not as good. But yeah, you could swap them both out for Whispers and Agi. Dude, fucking wow. I was just saying that he's not really with it because, he's only got 23,000 hatches thrown in 9 years. I have 75,000 and I threw 60,000 in like 3 months. But this, I could not have done this any better myself. The Otstarva literally cracked this shit. Because I was thinking, I was like, I need to make a video for new people on Huntress for a free to play build. He's got it right here. He's got it. I'm gonna make a video about this. So full props to Otstarva. This is the best possible starter build you can use for Huntress. Either one you want to use. Huntress's Lullaby Thrill is going to do really good against new people. And then once you start getting higher, you start to get a little bit more skill. You start to get up there, you can swap it out for Agi Whispers. Spies is decent too, don't get me wrong. I would probably use Nurses over Spies, but Spies isn't bad at all. It can point you in the right way. You got to be careful with 2-story maps though, because you can trigger a crow that's on the second story even though you're on the first. It's kind of weird how that works. So phenomenal. This is the best. This is the build I agree with the most out of all the builds we've looked at so far. This is a perfect beginner build. So yeah, that does it for this one. Let me know what you guys think of these builds. I'm just coming at it from my perspective. Like I said, it's no discredit to Hins or anything. You know, he's got 70,000 hatchets thrown too. I think I'm just slightly above him. So he does know what he's talking about. Everybody has their own personal preferences. So I'm not hating in that regard, but I just wanted to give my opinion on what I think of these best builds, right? And kind of try to point you guys in the direction that I would go in, right? So that does it for this one. That was actually really fun. Huge shout out to Otstarva, because wow, he's only got 23,000 hatchets thrown, but damn, he nailed it with that beginner build. Mwah. Literally perfect. Literally perfect. I'm jealous I didn't come up with that myself. I actually did have a video, but I don't know what I did exactly. I think I did Agi, Spies, Whisper, and then, oh man, what else did I do? Oh, it doesn't matter. But yeah, that does it for this one. Thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe to that good stuff. I'll see you guys in the next one.